That stupid punk rock. I don't, I just think of it as rock and roll because that's what it is.
Neighbors.
No one loves you like he loves you.
You want Bill Sperm with that?
Sunday, it was back in the lab.
Your answer is non sequitur.
So I think my last question was, when did you actually start going overseas?
I've been to Europe twice with the Circle
wow,
Jerks.
shit. I thought you guys would be out there all
I've
the time.
been to Europe. I've been to Europe about 5 times with Off.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting ready to go back to Europe with Off. We're getting ready to do a tour that starts in Phoenix and it's going to take us to the south, up the East Coast, maybe over to like Detroit and Chicago, and then we're going to fly from New Jersey to Spain. And we're going to play 3 shows in Spain, 1 show in Portugal.
Oh, nice.
Wow. And I've been to Spain twice. I've been to Barcelona with Off. We played. There's not a tour. There's a festival over there called the Primavera, which is considered to be one of the greatest festivals in the world. And we got through playing. I'm walking through the crowd. I'm walking back to where we were supposed to be hanging out, and I got to stop and watch The Cure. And I'm watching them going, this is pretty happening. These guys, they're loud. They're not dicking around. And they've hung big pieces of meat from the top of the stage. It was pretty happening. Yeah.
Before we move on, you made me think of a question about Europe and the Circle Jerks back then, not so much recently. How were record sales, European record sales? Did you guys have a big following overseas?
We never paid attention to any of that stuff. We're not businessmen.
No, but did you have people writing letters?
We would know some of that, but it was just a lot of that stuff just doesn't matter.
But if I were in Europe and I'm a Circle Jerks fan, I'd be pissed that you guys never made it out. I'd be not pissed. I'd be bummed. Like, oh man, you guys ever going to come out here?
Would you be so angry that you would set police stations on fire?
Well, not anymore.
Maybe.
No.
Try to blow up the Eiffel Tower and
I see your point. Yeah, not enough to drag you out there.
We at one point just didn't care.
Okay.
Which is a very lazy answer, and it's kind of ridiculous in that we are supposed to care, but what are we going to do about it if we're not going over there to tour, to promote whatever music we have out? Then sales are going to be whatever they're going to be.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. So, do we want to start talking about Off? Because I'm really curious about Off too.
Yeah, I just have one question. Throughout the years of the Circle Jerks, how consistent were you? You took time off for periods of time, right?
Well, you have to understand that during certain periods, we have one member who became a full-time member of Bad Religion,
Great.
which pretty much just pulled the rug out from whatever we've got going on. And then at another point, we have a member in Bad Religion. We have a member in a band called the Low and Sweet Orchestra. We have a member who every now and then played in the Weirdos, played in Thelonious Monster, and one of our members was an accountant, and you have tax season, and it's like, don't talk to me during tax season.
Totally.
Nothing's going on during tax season.
Yeah.
I'm buying my house during tax season.
Yeah.
I've got a sports car I've got to pay for during tax season.
Yeah, so that was the lulls, right? Because obviously other people had stuff going on, which prompted you to start other projects, right? Like off and is that primarily what how that came about?
Some of the other projects that I had were midget hand job and bug lamp. Bug lamp was my brush with rock and roll superstardom. I mean, like when I'm saying rock and roll superstardom, I'm talking about a record company the size of Warner Brothers telling me to come in on Monday morning and tell them what I want from them, which is something that a record label doesn't do. The record label normally tells you what they're going to give you. And I was really excited about the all of the different scenarios that could happen from that, but it wasn't going to happen because I wasn't going to be in a band called the Keith Morris Band. I refused to be in that band.
There's still time.
That was an interesting time because you were working with some other bands trying to help them along too, right? Like
I managed a couple of bands, and both of those situations at the end were not pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like there was a lot of anger and I hate you and those kind of things. It was just what happened with me was very convenient for them.
You were along until just about the time it was go time, and then you sort of got sort of shuffled out of the picture a little bit.
Right about the time one of the bands I would have made probably somewhere around $300,000, and the other band I would have at least been able to tell them, don't allow these people to do what they're proposing to do or what they haven't proposed to do.
Right. Did was that? I mean, sure, it was a valuable lesson in a lot of ways. Did it help you with your own bands afterwards? Were you a little more seasoned or a little more leery of, the whole record industry, the way they treat
Well,
people?
I would eventually go to work for a record label.
Yeah, you were an
And
A&R guy.
I had a blast working for them because I didn't have a lot of responsibility. I had to make sure that all of the right ink cartridges were in the Xerox machine so that we could print black and white, because the problem with these new Xerox machines is if your yellow port
Yeah.
has no yellow in it, you don't get to print good old black on white.
Yeah. Until that happened, I never used the word magenta until it started happening to
Right.
recruiters. Yeah. So,
Beautiful color, one of my favorite colors.
there you go. So, can I ask you a little bit about? You mentioned Bug Lamp and Midget Hand Job. Now, I know Midget Hand Job ended up on a label because Epitaph signed you guys for a while, right? And
We were signed to Epitaph. It was basically Brett Gurewitz doing me a favor. I was dying of diabetes. It was right when I came down with diabetes.
Okay.
And I had absolutely no control of what was going on. I was dying. I was at 87 pounds. And during the middle of summer, I would be wearing long underwear and a couple of thermal long sleeve shirts under a t-shirt, under a sweatshirt, under a jacket. And I would go home and I would get in bed. I would take my shoes off and I would leave everything on. I would get in bed. I would be under 3 thermal blankets and I would be freezing
wow.
at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
I'm so glad you're doing so much better nowadays.
Thank you, Ed.
It's great that he did that for you. What was your experience on the label? What did you think of it?
Basically, the reason he did that was we got to do something to get Keith up on his feet and moving around and just doing something.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome of him to do. But what did you think of your time there? What did you think of the project?
I had a total blast because it was nothing like anything I'd ever done before.
Yeah.
And all of the musical influences. Basically, what they were trying to do was a free jazz, krautrock, Creedence Clearwater, Roxy Music, Billie Holiday extravaganza. And we had a blast every time we played. All of the people that were there just had a great time.
Yeah.
And we got to the point where we gathered all of these, just like, here's a chain laying on the ground, I'm gonna grab it. The spatula at Millie's, our cook, one of our sax players was the cook at Millie's. It's like, well, the handle on the pan is broken, so I'll just throw it in with all of the other musical whatevers. And so there'd be a broken spatula and a broken pan and like a 5-gallon bucket filled with sand and coins and nails and screws and just all sorts of stuff. And everybody was allowed to do what they wanted to do musically along the line. And a lot of it got repetitious. At times it got very like drum circle like, which I hate.
Yeah.
I hate a fucking drum circle.
Wow. So how did you get out of that physical state that you were, though? You were really sick, man. How'd you?
I initially tossed out the diabetic diet because the diabetic diet is set up. Most diabetics, when they find out they have diabetes, are obese, and they immediately need to lose some weight, and that's what the diabetic diet is about. It's like, I'm 87 pounds, I ain't doing that. You know, fuck that noise. I gotta put on weight. I'm eating ham. I'm a Jew, I don't eat pork. I'm eating ham, I'm eating bacon, I'm eating butter, I'm eating potatoes, I'm eating biscuits and toast. And rather than eating 2 eggs, I'm eating 4 eggs. Drinking milk. Yeah. That's for the dog. Yeah.
You had a learning curve there because I read somewhere that you had gone out to do some work with Turbo Negro, and you had kind of an incident out there, didn't you? Diabetic incident?
Yeah. Traveling, you can find yourself in situations where your food choices, you're better off like looking for the nearest garbage can.
Yeah.
I screwed up and didn't eat for about 8 hours. And for a diabetic, that's a no-no. You've got to, because you're supposed to be using your insulin on a regular basis. And if you're using insulin, you have to be eating because you can't use insulin unless you're eating. The insulin will kill you. And I found myself on a flight from Heathrow in the UK to Oslo, Norway. On the flight, all that was available was the chicken sandwich. Nothing better than a chicken sandwich that looks like it has been wrapped and sealed and placed at the very back of the tray for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Nasty.
Yeah. And I took a bite and I thought I was going to throw up. And there was nothing, there weren't any treats, there weren't any snacks. I was really pissed off. Granted, it's only about an hour flight from Heathrow to where I was going. But you would think there would at least be some chocolates or some nuts, or pretzels.
Yeah, no
That's
pretzels.
pretty much, that's a mainstay. That's a staple on a flight anywhere.
3 little ones in a bag.
Yeah, but 3 pretzels are better than no pretzels.
Yeah, one bite of a stale chicken sandwich.
So I got to Oslo, got to the hotel. They said, you have an hour before we're going to go rehearse. It's like, great, that's plenty of time to go get something to eat. I'm down in the middle of the hotel looking around. Where's the hotel restaurant? Oh, we're closed. They closed because now all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Option.
Option was, I go to the guy behind the desk and he says, what you can do is you can go up those stairs. You'll be in the railway station. You'll find something to eat in the railway station. And I got up there. Now, all of the restaurants in the railway station were closed.
Okay.
So I'm looking at their version of 7-Eleven and 7-Eleven. And I'm thinking, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. I'm looking at the food, the prepared food that's available in the Norwegian convenience store, and it's vulgar. It's just like vomit inducing. I'm not going anywhere near there. Now, granted, I didn't look for any chocolate. I didn't look for any pastries. I didn't look for any fresh fruit, which that was the first stuff I should have really been looking for. Just get some of that stuff going.
Yeah.
So I get to the 7-Eleven and I'm looking, and their food selection, they've actually got a heated showcase with like pasta and stuff like that that looks like something that I stepped in on my front yard.
Turd.
And
Damn.
I'm thinking, this is really just killing my hunger, just ruining my hunger. And I didn't think about grabbing some chocolate and grabbing like a partially ripe banana or an apple or an orange juice, like to get me up, which is what I would normally do in a situation like this, just to get the glucose levels up. I avoided all of it. My first thought was, you know what? I'm gonna go upstairs. I grabbed some water. I bought some water. Thankfully, I bought some water because that probably saved my life. My thought was, I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna turn the TV on, and I'm gonna fall asleep watching a movie. I'm gonna get up early in the morning. I'm gonna be the first one down in the lobby. I'm gonna be the first one in the restaurant, and I'm gonna order the French toast with the pancakes and the toast with the butter and jelly, and I'm gonna have like 3 eggs, and I'm gonna
Go big.
just get the greatest breakfast anybody's ever had.
Refuel.
And I didn't make it. Of course, I started vomiting because I had gone into the situation is, your body does this for you. When your body is hungry, all of the acidity kicks up because your body's going to start feeding on your body. It's going to start feeding on all of your fat. And it's called ketoacidosis. And that kicked up, and I started vomiting. And I think I vomited probably about 20 times. It got to the point where I just didn't even bother going all the way into the bathroom. I was just vomiting on the bathroom floor. And I was drinking the water. I went through 3 bottles of water. And towards the end of all of this, I went into a coma. And my coma situation was that I was completely and wide awake. Like you would think, after what I'd just been through, after vomiting as much as I had vomited, that my entire system would just want to, like, let's relax and let's just go to sleep, get some rest. And I couldn't even do that. I was frozen. The room was, I had failed to turn the heat on in the room. So the room was frozen. I felt like I was frozen. I was paralyzed. And I couldn't move. And I was gasping for air. And this went on probably for about 4 hours. And finally, it was that time of the morning where the woman was going to come and ask if you needed towels or if you needed soap or if you needed your room cleaned or you needed new sheets or pillowcases or whatever. She comes into the room, she sees me, I'm in my boxers. And apparently she couldn't put 1 and 1 together to make 2. Where this guy's in this freezing room laying here with half of his body slumped over the side of the bed in a pair of boxers because the entire hotel is filled with people who are drinking until like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's like he's just another alcohol casualty. He's just hungover. He'll be better later on. She comes back because I can see the clock. I'm looking at the clock, and I can see through the curtains that the sun is up, but I can't move. Like I said, I'm paralyzed. I'm frozen.
Shit.
And she comes back about an hour later and apparently has the thought that this is the same position this guy was in an hour ago. Maybe there's, and his eyes are wide open. And he's,
Oh, fuck.
gasping for air. Maybe there's something wrong. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get the guy from behind the counter. He's going to come up here. I'm going to have him check it out. He got there. He was up there, and it took him about 10 minutes. And he was immediately on the phone to the hospital. He said, you got to send some people over here to take care of this guy. And they got there. I don't even know what they were giving me. I don't know what they did for me. All I know is they put me on the stretcher. They put me in the back of the emergency vehicle. And I got to the hospital. And the first thing that happened was they put me under a sheet sitting up in a fucking freezing room like you're in a hospital. It's like, can't you make this place more comfortable?
Yeah.
And so I finally, I'm able to move a little bit, so I grab the nurse with my claw. Water. I was able to say,
Sorry, I don't speak English.
They wouldn't give them water because they needed to do blood work or something like that.
that's
probably.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, we can't give you water because we're going to go deep. We're going to get the deepest blood we can get. The freshest, deepest blood. And we can't give you water right now because it'll thin your blood. And it was like, I want to say, well, could you just draw the blood right now? And like 45 minutes later, they come in and I see the needle they're going to use. It's like, you don't want to see this needle. Whenever they're doing blood work like this, they're always using a thicker gauge needle because they don't want to crush the blood cells. They need full blood cells to see what's going on with the blood cells. And I see them, that you got to make a Y. They're going in right up here, like one of your main arteries happens to kind of come around here. And they're going to go right up in there, and it's like, oh boy, can you do this and get it done? And of course, she takes the blood. It's in all of the tubes. And she said, I'll be right back. And 2 minutes later, she comes back with a little cup filled with freezing, like ice cold water. Like the last thing I need.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have time to make demands. The whole experience was ridiculous.
Sounds brutal.
How long were you in the hospital for before you got out of there?
I had no place to stay
Wow.
because the room at the hospital was for like a day. Like come in at 10, leave the come in at 10. I was there for, I want to say, a day and a half. Come in at 10, be there for the next day, and then play with Turbo Negro that night, and then fly out the next morning.
You made the gig?
No.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Oh, you didn't.
No.
You didn't.
They called me. They called me. I made the rehearsal.
Yeah.
And the rehearsal was really fucked up because I was in hypoglycemia. It was like, I don't want to be here. I don't feel like doing any of this. I need food. It's like we're going out to this really great practice space, which is a venue on a lake. And you would think, well, maybe there'd be. This is the biggest band in fucking Norway. There's got to be a deli plate.
Something, geez.
You know, there's got to be some cheese and some bread and some mustard and some vegetables and some nuts. And no, there was some M&Ms and some peanuts.
Wow.
Like, okay, so you guys you all ate before you came out here.
Yeah. Wow, that's a tough situation, man. So
But
you,
I made it through the rehearsal. We rehearsed the song, I want to say 6 times. The first 4 times were just absolutely mind-numbingly horrible, to the point where Hank, the lead vocalist, pulled Euro Boy and Happy Tom to the side and said, "You motherfuckers paid for this guy to come over here to do this?" And I overheard the conversation, and it's like, now I got to get up there and I got to like show this guy what's supposed to be fucking happening.
yeah.
And so on the 5th go round, I was getting there. On the last time, it was like Happy Tom looked at Hank and said, "Motherfucker, this is the reason why we flew him over here.
Nice.
If he is half of what he just did on stage tomorrow, you'll be thanking us for inviting him to come over." It was Nick Oliveri and I. Nick was going to sing a song, and then we were all going to like sing choruses on the very last song, which was like a David Bowie song, "Hang On to Yourself" or "Suffragette City" or something like that.
Oh wow.
I didn't make it.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was singing a song with them was the lead vocalist from one of my favorite bands, the soundtrack of our lives, from Sweden. And he was the one that called me when all of us were supposed to go to the venue, which was actually in walking distance of the hotel. And he called me and I said, I can't do this. Yeah. I can, right now I can barely breathe.
Man, that's rough. That's a rough trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess you want to pivot, talk about off?
Yeah, I do. One, I was really lucky to see you guys years ago at Power of the Riff. You guys were you were Dr. No and a few other bands on the bill, and it was the first time I saw you guys, and I don't know if I had listened to you guys until I saw you, which I knew you, obviously, and I'd heard things about Dimitri Coates and other members of the band that were, it was a high pedigree band made up of a lot of really good musicians. So I was looking forward to seeing you guys. You were amazing, and the first song I heard from you guys on a record was Black Dots, and I thought, oh yeah, this is right up my alley, man. This is circle jerk, Black Flagish, that vein, but there was something different about the musicianship. And as you guys have gone along, you've evolved a lot, and I wanted to know what it was like playing with people outside of your sphere of friendships and people you've always played with guys you grew up with or were in the scene with, and now you're playing with this whole new group of players, younger guys like Dimitri Coates. And what was that like, and how did that come about?
Well, what had happened was Dimitri came to Xander, Kevin Fitzgerald, and Greg Hudson and myself and said, it's time for you guys to write a new Circle Jerks record. It's been like 15, 20 years since your last record. It's time for a new Circle Jerks record.
As a manager, he said that, right?
Well, he said that as the guy who was going to produce the record.
Yeah, okay.
And somebody had to take the reins. Somebody had to grab it and say, it's time, let's do this. And it was kind of pathetic because we'd get in a room and it was nobody had any musical ideas. Everybody was just kind of sticking to themselves. For years and years it was like, yeah, I got a handful of riffs for some Circle Jerk songs, And when it was time to step up, nobody had any fucking creative shit going on. It was ridiculous. It was just pathetic. I could point fingers. I could get really seriously down and dirty and paint the picture black.
But there was just no creative juices flowing. You guys weren't gelling, or whatever it might be.
What happened was it eventually got to the point where Dimitri said, look, we're on a schedule. We've got to record this album. We're supposed to be getting money from Epitaph. And one of the guys had told Brett that we were a couple of songs short of an album, that we're ready to record an album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When did you have any?
No pressure.
When Dimitri and I had written 7 or 8 songs, and it was just sad. It was just pathetic. It was, at one point I got a phone call at 10:30 at night. I'm laying in bed, I'm getting ready to watch a DVD, I'm gonna crash out and do my thing the next day, and I get a call, and the conversation starts, we know that you're going to quit the band, but we've made a decision that we're not going to work with Dimitri. And the character that I'm in this lopsided conversation with starts going down a list. He's this, he's this, he's that. And each time he says, Dimitri's egotistical, Dimitri's arrogant, Dimitri's this, Dimitri's that. It's like, each time he says one of these adjectives, he's also explaining one of the guys in the band. And it's like, you know what?
Dimitri.
You know what?
Right.
I quit.
Wow.
Because I'm tired of your BS. Yeah. It's like, we've had this opportunity to write some songs, and the only people that have written songs are Dimitri and I. Dimitri at one point said, Keith, the only way this album's going to be made is if you and I write these songs.
Yeah.
And we wrote all of these songs, and I have this conversation, and it's like, Dimitri, while Dimitri and I are writing these songs and having conversations around all of these songs, I said, you can place a bet that one of the guys is going to step up and figure out a way to sabotage what we're supposed to be doing. Like, just hit the brake. Just just dump sugar in the gas tank. And I said, we need to have a plan B, and that is, if you and I are in a band, who do we want as a rhythm section? And we only came up with about 6 names for the rhythm section. And both of the names at the very top of these lists, bass players, drummers, were the first guys we asked, and they were the first guys that joined the band. And we were very fortunate. The new guys we're playing with come from some different places. Yeah. But if you listen to the album, we're also playing like we're coming from some different places. And that was the whole idea. It's like, oh, we're going to make another punk rock hardcore record. Oh, fucking boy. Yeah. The world needs another hardcore punk rock album.
I have to ask you too, one thing I really liked about that project, is you guys first started just releasing little EPs. You didn't do the record thing the way that, you didn't do the tried and true formula. You guys are doing these like little EPs.
Well, it was
instead.
A box set.
Right, yeah, that's true. It was, but it was the way it was packaged. It was like,
and if you lucked out, you would have got one of the covers that, it's all Raymond Pettibone artwork.
Yeah.
When Raymond heard us, he immediately said, "I'm going to work with you guys."
Wow.
One of the covers, all of the artwork was spread out on a table at Vice Records. And one day the lawyer just happened to come waltzing in, and he walked by this table of artwork, and something just jumped up and bit off his face. He said, "That's not getting printed anywhere." And that's not leaving this office.
The office of Vice, by the way.
Yes. And the sleeves had already been printed up, the vinyl had been pressed, and they'd all been boxed up and sealed, and I think, I want to say 250 to 500 of them were shipped out.
What a situation. So how'd you handle it?
What are we going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do, right?
Recall them? It doesn't work that way.
So what was it like playing those first shows with Off? Did it feel, right out of the gate, did it feel right? Was it cool? Like the first live shows?
It always felt right. Mm-hmm. What we have, even to this day, is one of our members who has absolutely nothing to do with the musical community that I come from. And I welcome that. That's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things about what we do.
It comes through in the recordings. We're all fans. I don't want to skip too far ahead or whatever, but I know this thing's running long. I'd like to hear about the new release, because it's a departure from what you guys have previously put out. Free LSD, I'm talking about. And did you guys set out to make this different, or did it just organically kind of come out? The songs are just a bit structured a little bit differently. And I wonder if that's A, something you guys plan to do from the start or not. And then B, is this the direction that Off is heading to in future releases?
What happened was, like I just said, one of our members does not come from the musical community that I come from.
Yeah.
And he found himself in a band where he had people in this community that he had to keep up with. He had to prove himself. Mm-hmm. And I never, ever put any of that kind of stuff on him. It's just that's the way he works. Mm-hmm. And there people that we're close to, that actually called him a poser. And one of the guys, I wanted to break his jaw. And I'm just a little guy. I would seriously have to be radically pissed off to do something like that. Break noses, break jaws, because it's unexpected. I'm not that person. And all of a sudden there are people in the larger musical community who've jumped from genre to genre because it's cool. And that ain't cool. I mean, it's cool for David Bowie to have all of the different colors that he's used. But these guys couldn't even purchase toilet paper for David Bowie. We made 3 records that are all pretty much in the same ballpark. And we took it upon ourselves in the very beginning when we first started talking about making this record. What direction are we going to go? Where will we be coming from? Normally, when we're writing music and we're listening to other music to inspire us, we'd listen to stuff like Stiff Little Fingers and The Damned, the Sex Pistols, the Ramones. At one point, I had Dimitri listening to Link Ray.
There you go.
I said, Dimitri, you're coming into a space where you're a great guitar player, but now you got to kick it up a couple of notches, and that is by doing the downstroke. And I said, what you're doing with the downstroke, listen to what Link Ray does. Link Ray does the downstroke, but he does it in a way where it's
Epic.
there's a lot of space.
Yeah.
And it's not grinding on you. It's not metallic. It's not punk. It's like he's doing his thing and he's doing it in a way that's really cool.
He had major attitude.
You listen to the
guitar,
rumble and it's wow, wow, wow.
So great.
Yeah.
Let it ring. We would listen to stuff like that. We would listen to this. Unfortunately, he would have me listening to the Circle Jerks. He would have me listening to Black Flag. So like, I don't want to listen to that stuff. That stuff it's my DNA. I don't need to listen to that. This time around, it's like he comes to me and he said, so what's your vibe? And I said, well, one of my all-time favorite records, one of the first album that I ever owned was the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Can we do something like that? Put on your headphones and have the music move around over your head, under your chin. Can we do something that's like, if you listen to it, the second time you listen to it, you hear something you didn't hear the first time you listened to it? He said, so you're talking color. You're talking making something colorful. I said, Dimitri, I've been in bands where everything has just been black and white. All my life. Can we find a Mellotron and put some Mellotron on our record? That's certainly gonna piss off a few punk rocks. And the whole vibe was, we're not setting out to piss anybody off. We're setting out to please ourselves and make a record that we really want to make for ourselves. And that's the reason why there's all of the musical interludes or the musical landscape where it's all of this electronics just going off. And we have a friend who plays saxophone who played in a band called Clawhammer. He was also a member of Midget Handjob. We have John Walp playing. Just be free. Just go for it. Make some noise. Do what you think needs to be done in this section of music or noise. We also really made it interesting for ourselves because we had a problem, and it set us back about a year because we had to find a new rhythm section. And in this process, we have a friend who had played in a band called And You Will Know Us by the Trill of the Dead. He plays bass. And when we asked him to play with us, it was an immediate yes because you are my favorite band. What? It would be stupid and ridiculous of me to not want to play with you guys.
Nice.
Well, we had another drummer that we were working with at the time, and hit a wall with him. We found out something in a rehearsal space, which is the best place to find out about things about your bandmates, rather than being out in the middle of a 6-week tour,
Sure.
and finding out you're in a van with somebody that you would have kicked out of the van at the California-Arizona border, or never allowed in your van in the first place.
Yeah.
And so now we're without a drummer, and Dimitri goes to Autry, and in their conversation, Autry said, I work with Thundercat, who's actually a big deal. I went and saw Thundercat at the Hollywood Bowl. That was an interesting scenario. And our drummer played with him, our current drummer. And it was like, this is fucking nuts.
Rad.
With a Z and several exclamation marks.
Z's. Nice.
He's a jazz drummer. He plays with Thundercat. Thundercat and his brother at one time were the rhythm section for Suicidal Tendencies.
Wow.
That's a very interesting part of the scenario. Our drummer had played in a rock band that was signed to a major label, and something happened between a couple of the guys, and it was no longer. So he plays jazz. He played with Herbie Hancock. You don't just, you're not just some schmo like drummer that gets to play with Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
You got to be world class.
For sure.
That's a whole different fucking situation.
And Gary Hurst has worked with him for years.
Gary was his on-stage monitor man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Manager.
Autry asked Justin if he wanted to play in the band. We, of course, gave him an explanation and gave him a little bit of our bio, or told him about us. And he didn't have to think about it. He said, I want to do this because what it'll do is it'll give me lungs. It'll build up my chest, my chest muscles, because I have no chest muscles. Because playing jazz is a lot of wrist
Yeah. Brushes and
and
stuff.
a lot of from the elbow.
Not pounding the skins.
Yeah.
Wow. So that brought a whole fresh bit of perspective to the band, a new angle.
What he adds is that he's the band leader. Normally, it's the guitar player playing his riff and everybody just kind of following along.
Uh-huh.
Or the lead vocalist singing whatever he's singing and everybody you know, accompanying him, all that ego shit, that all got tossed out the window. And with Justin, when we first started working with him, the first project we worked on was the Metallica Black Album benefit record.
Right.
That was the first thing. And we got in the room and we started rehearsing. And it was way happening. And then we made the video, the mini movie for it. And he was excited about that. And he loves the band. He said, I get to play with a legend.
That's awesome.
And I said, who are you talking about, Autry or Dimitri? Just being facetious. Just trying to add some sarcasm to this, some wit, and all that other fun shit. And he said, you have to understand that I will not be playing these songs the same way when we play them.
You've been
Which
forewarned.
means we've got to pay closer attention to what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that fact.
Yeah.
Dimitri came to me, being the wise guy that he is, and said, now we're going to be writing up a different set list every night. And I immediately said, fuck you and that noise. That's not happening. And here's why. We have a drummer that is all over the place, all over the map. There are certain spots that he knows he has to hit.
Yeah.
Because it's staccato. It's part of the song. It's driving certain parts of the song into your heads. But all that other time,
Straight improv.
freak world.
That's fucking right.
It
And
is.
I said, Dimitri, you even said this early on. He's the band leader. And I'm not going to write a new set list every night. We're going to be on our toes because you're doing all of your electronic stuff in between some of the songs. We'll do blocks. Like the first block, I think, is 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah.
And then there's a break. There's a space. Grab a sip of water, towel your forehead off, and be ready to get back into it because Dimitri's going to hit a note, and that's when it all starts back up again. And this break could be a minute and a half, could be 2 minutes, could be 3 minutes. Depends upon what happens with the electronics, because these electronics are so unpredictable that you could go to try to reproduce something you did the night before and not even come close. If the device, because these devices, for some reason, they have minds of their own, and it's bitching.
Wow.
So you've got enough things to worry about than if the set list is changed up to be more interesting for us.
Sounds pretty interesting, and it's fun to see how you light up talking about it. I can tell this is like you said, a breath of fresh air, man. It's obvious. It comes through in the music. You guys off came along at the perfect time because for a beautiful, glorious second, we had Flag, and we loved Flag because it harkened back to obviously Black Flag, and then that kind of went away for all reasons. And then, boom, next time I heard from you, it was when you had off. And that was a continuation of what I loved about Flag at first. But then you guys, right when that started to get stale, you come out with 3LSD and the change in tempo and tone and, musicality. And it came at the right time before guys like me got burned out on the formula that was so popular up to that point. I loved it, but it was also rad to hear something different from you guys.
Well, there's another part to this. There's another part that's attached to this. This isn't just about the music and the album. Because while we were creating all of these musical scenarios, Dimitri had already started to write a script involving the band and the making of the record and just some of the weird shit that we would have to go through to make the record. And what does the record mean? And what does the record equate to? And it turned into the album promoting the movie. We actually filmed a real movie, which in this day and age, out of everybody that we've talked to in the movie business, will tell you it's the most difficult thing when it comes to all of the creative areas.
Yeah.
Making a movie is the most difficult thing to do. Because you have all of the schedules, you have all of the camera people, and the people that feed everybody, and the women that bring in the clothes, and the lighting people, and the people that find the locations.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal. And we made a movie. And we showed the movie at Slam Dance. And everybody that was there was totally into it. The movie, when we showed it at Slam Dance, was 95% done. Some of the special effects needed some extra stuff sprinkled in there, and the music needed to be there needed to be more like incidental music.
Yeah.
Some of the music in the movie needed to be pushed up a little bit. Some of it needed to be brought back down a little bit. And I do believe that it should be done by now. And so, because of Slam Dance, we were offered a film festival in Italy. We were offered a film festival in Switzerland. We were offered, speaking of the Circle Jerks never leaving the United States, and I talked about going and playing 5 nights in Honolulu. We've been offered the Maui Film Festival. I said, I'll go to Maui and hang out for a couple of days and do a few fist bumps and
Oh yeah.
you know, sign some postcards or what have you.
So we can expect this movie relatively soon, a few months or something? Maybe?
It doesn't work that way.
I have no idea how this stuff works.
I'm just learning about it, but it's like you make a movie and you sell it. That doesn't mean that it's out next week.
Yeah.
It's got all of its channels that it's got to go through. And normally,
A lot of red
it's like
tape.
making a record. You complete your record's not going to be out for 3 months, minimum.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the movie, only it could be even longer.
Yeah.
All right, so it did get picked up, you saying?
No,
Not yet, okay.
no. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm the vocalist. I'm the last one to learn about
You're
hear
on a
about
need-to-know
any of this
basis.
stuff.
But if you're showing this thing at these festivals, that's kind of the point. Not the point, but well, maybe it is a point.
Gaining
is to
interest.
getting interest from people that are going to finance and distribute, right?
That's what that's for. Yes.
Yeah. So that's when that happens. Is when you start showing this movie. Is when you start getting some interest, generating interest. I would imagine. I assume that's how that goes. I don't know. But cool. That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to the movie. Do we have anything else, Dan?
Speaking of movies, Jack's movie,
Oh,
he
yeah.
sold it.
Oh, he did?
Oh, no way.
Somebody bought it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And he is extremely lucky in that he doesn't have to go through all of the rigmarole. He doesn't have to go to all of the film festivals and
That's cool.
talk to all of the different people, whether he wants to or not.
Yeah.
You know, he avoided all of that. and I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I've heard that his film, the TSOL movie, is brilliant.
Yeah. We've seen clips of it. It's fucking. I mean, what we've seen is it's fucking.
He showed you some of it.
Yeah, we got to see some, and it's amazing.
In his living room.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah, it was
And
unique.
did he show it on a wall?
On his computer.
Yeah, on a laptop.
Or on his computer? No, that doesn't work.
I don't know, man. It looked amazing, and
'Cause
what a cool
you
concept.
you know that he put together a showing in his living room
Yeah, recently. Right?
for like
Yeah.
10 people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see that, but we saw the clips, and
Yeah,
they
that
were
was,
nuts, man. Really unique
Kicks.
take
That's
on
fundraising
on
thing,
the movie. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that's,
he really worked his ass off on that.
He did, and he was really like proud of it when he showed it to us, and he was just really hoping it didn't sit on a freaking shelf for years. He wanted to get that thing out there, and I'm so happy for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was supposed to have been one of the few people that he interviewed for that, and I actually got Human involved in it, and we were both going to go down there, and then I couldn't leave my house that day, so Human got interviewed. I didn't get to. It never happened again after that. He goes, "Oh, too late." Oh well. They used my photos in it.
yeah.
Well, despite that, you're still incredibly well known. You're doing well for yourself, man. We're all we're so honored to be here again, man. So we want to thank you for having us once again. And
Yeah. And thank you. Oh, go ahead.
The Circle Jerks touring,
Yes.
we're not through. We
Yeah.
have more places to go.
Nice.
We have more places to see. And I have a girlfriend that collects postcards, so I have more postcards
Fuck
to.
yeah.
Well,
Nice.
we've seen you
Sign
guys
and
recently, and it's fun, so much fun to see you guys live. And it's fun because it looks like you're having fun. And you see that. You see that as an audience member. You know who's out there having a good time and who isn't. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun to see you guys.
Cool. Well, thank you for allowing us in your home, Ed, and thanks, Keith, for coming out.
Yeah.
Really appreciate this. Is a really fucking cool interview and a really, really informative. Learned a lot of new things. So
That's
thank
for
you.
sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Go check out Off's new record. And again, yeah, from me and Chris, didn't get a chance to talk, but he's the guy that makes all this
He said
possible.
something once.
Super producer Chris, thank you,
Yeah,
man.
you did say something.
Chris makes sure that all the questions we bombard you to with make it to streaming services. So that's super important. So thank you. All right, that's good. I got nothing else.
Cool. That's awesome. Cool.